Hello, my name is Herson Alfaro, and I want to thank you for taking your time and sitting and either listening or watching what it is I have to share with the world. We have a lot of negativity that touches our day-to-day lives, and something like our devices are a propellant to accessing all this information. Unfortunately, a lot of this information affects us in a bad way. And my whole purpose with this channel is to spread a bit of positivity back into your day-to-day routine. One of the ways I go about doing that is by sharing what it is that's helped me. Now, if you have just arrived to this channel, or you're someone who's been here since I've started it, I've done this in a couple different methods. One of the ways that I maintain this positive, callous mind when living my life is through Stoicism. It's a practice that I've practiced for about 3 years now, and I came across it when I was 23. And my first introduction to it was from this book called Meditations by a writer named Marcus Aurelius. Now, these writings were never meant to touch the public eye. If Marcus knew that his journals were published for the public to see, I think he would probably have a panic attack. However, Marcus Aurelius was a man who ruled half the world during his life. And in that time, he still had time to set aside and write down his thoughts. And his thoughts weren't written for anyone else. It was a conversation between him and himself, and how it is that he could become a better person. That type of mentality is something that allowed me to break through the shell that I needed, or I felt I needed, in order to protect myself. And once I realized I was capable of breaking through the shell, I knew other people could do it as well. And I had to reach a point where I felt comfortable enough to really grasp that understanding of wanting to push forward. And as humans, I feel like all of us need this purpose of achievement. And when we lack that purpose, it boxes into a room that traps us from the outside world. The further we are boxed in this room, the darker it gets. And what I mean by that is, the more we isolate ourselves from other people, it can put us in a very difficult predicament. This room can start off looking like a house, and the house can have many different paths and access ways for you to get from one place to another. There may be a lot of doors and windows in this house, but when you reach certain points in life as you get older, you can start to close off certain doors. Certain windows start to disappear, and before you know it, you're quite literally in a box with no windows and no doors. You're in a dark, dark place. And I've found myself in this place many times in my life. But I've always found a way to dig myself out. And one of the ways that I did that was through understanding who I am as a person. How I came about doing this was through putting myself in situations that I felt incredibly uncomfortable in. Anxiety was something that ruled my world. I had no idea that it had this control over me. Matter of fact, I didn't even know what I was dealing with was anxiety. And once I grew to understand the mind a bit further, I could connect these feelings with actual words. And it took me years to get to that point. My hopes with this channel is to push forward that timeline for you. And even if you are someone who's older than me, I truly believe it's never too late to progress yourself forward. There's always a means to reach a goal or find a new purpose. So don't be discouraged if your timeline looks different from others. It's all a matter of perspective. If it's something that you want, if it's something that will benefit you and those around you, if it will create a purpose in life once again, how can that be a bad thing? There's never a bad time to start. And I want to reiterate, the reason why I'm doing this is to further teach myself how I can move forward in developing my spirituality, my mentality, and my physical being. And as I learn these things, I hope to pass them on to who's ever willing to spend their time and either watch or listen to what I have to share. So if you have been here since I've started, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for having an interest in participating in life. I want to thank you for willing to push yourself forward through uncomfortable situations. I want to thank you for having the mentality to strive towards something that you want. No one else is going to be able to do this for you. And once you grow to understand what it is that life requires of you, then you will find yourself not standing behind me, but with me. And hopefully in front of me at some point. And if you ever get to the point where you feel like you've stagnated, understand there's always room for growth. There's always room for improvement in some aspect of life. There's always something new to learn. And that is something that life will always have to offer. With that, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you subscribing to someone who's trying their best to understand what the game of life is and how to play it. And hopefully together we can figure out the most effective ways to approach different situations. With that, I wish you a good night, a good day, whenever you're watching this. I hope that the rest of the time you have in that 24-hour cycle treats you well.